Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is John Gitau and I am an international PhD student at the University of Quebec here in Montreal in the Quebec province of Canada. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you systematically how I was able to win an $81,000 scholarship while in Kenya through Twitter without knowing any professor in Canada, without knowing anybody in Canada, but I took a step of faith and I applied and I was able to bag it. And I'm going to explain that to you so that it can be potentially helpful in your applications as well. So it all started with a Twitter post. I saw a Twitter post from a Canadian professor who was looking for a PhD student. And the student was to work on a subject I'm really interested in, and it's what I'm doing currently for my PhD. It was about gene regulation and the non-coding part of the DNA. And I was really interested in this project because it's fully bioinformatics. So there's a small component of lab-based activities, but it's all about writing computational pipelines and coding, and that's something I really wanted to do. So I wrote to this professor, and after a couple of days, she responded to me, and of course she told me, we are going to check your papers, we're going to check where the application package you've sent us. Then if you pass the initial screening phase, we are going to get back to you and we organize an interview. And I was able to pass that stage, and they organized an interview. And in the interview process, of course, I know we were many. I was super honest with what I want, my motivation, why I want to come to Canada, why this laboratory specifically, why this university, why this province. McHugh, this is a French-speaking province. This is a French university. And coming from the East African part, I was a little bit, discouraged because, like, I don't know any French, and I'm competing, with people who speak French very well. But that did not discourage me really. I went through the interview process. I, step by step moved towards the goal I wanted. And one day I woke up and I saw this email. Congratulations, you have been offered this scholarship, and we are going to move to the next stage of applying to the university, because now you have a supervisor, you have a professor, and you have a lab. And that is number one mistake people do. First of all, make sure you bag a supervisor before you go to the next stage of applying to a university, the admissions, administrative things. Focus on getting a supervisor, because the supervisor is going to help you to get the admission and subsequently in the immigration processes. But now, back to the main reason, $81,000. When I was sent that email, at first it was like, okay, they're giving you $68,000. And everything was detailed systematically. This is what this amount covers. This is your stipend. This is what it pays. And you know that amount of money is paying, school fees is not part of it, because school fees is catered for separately. So this is like stipend for your accommodation, etc., so that you fully focus on the PhD. And I was like, through Twitter, and I for sure have $68,000 secured. Then I started the immigration processes. Of course, I was helped by the supervisor and the university, because here in Quebec, you need to get permit from the provincial government first before you proceed to the federal government to get your study permit. So, like, that's why I'm saying it is really, really critical for you to first get a supervisor before moving into the administrative tasks and government-related activities. So with my $68,000 scholarship, I packed my bags and I came to Canada. Reaching here, I realized that, wait, the $68,000 is only from the supervisor because she has written grants, and she has money to support students. But at the same time, because I belong to faculty of chemistry, uh, I qualify automatically to get additional $13,000, and this scholarship is called doctoral scholarship or doctoral support scholarship, because once you're a doctoral student, you automatically qualify for $13,000. Did I know that I'm going to have this $13,000 in addition to $68,000 while living in Kenya? No. That is why it's very important for you to make the first step. And the first step is for you to obtain a supervisor, and he or she is going to guide you. So even as I started my PhD, yes, I was like, okay, I have $68,000. But in addition to that, I'm like, hey, there is another $13,000 because it is automatic. I didn't even know. I just got an email from the university and they were like, hey, we've given you $13,000. And of course, there's a systematic way of paying that. And that money is channeled directly to your bank account because you provide all that information when you're doing admissions. Having said that, that is not the only money available. For now, that accounts to $81,000, and that's what supports my doctoral fellowship. But even as I continue to study, I get to understand that you can actually apply to even more scholarships. That doesn't mean that because you have this money, like you can't apply to get more money to support you. Because in any case, you are 100% committed to this course. So you can't work. Of course, you can work. Even my study permit stipulates that I can work for 24 hours a week and I can get good payment from that, but I have to stick to the bigger picture. I'm able to live comfortably. I'm able to focus on my research because I also want to look at subsequent steps even at an early stage. So why did I win this money in Kenya without knowing anyone in this part of the world? I will attribute this to a number of factors. Factor number one, make sure your documentation is perfect. And what do I mean by this? Make sure your CV, you have taken time to write your CV well. You have taken time to update your, professional social media pages. For example, LinkedIn, make sure it's updated. If you volunteered for something, if you have a skill, if you learned a certificate, make sure you systematically update your LinkedIn page. I can assure you that these professors in this part of the world go to an extreme length to make sure that the person they are bringing to their lab is as competent. So for you to really demonstrate that you're competent, it's not just about your grades. Believe you me, it's not only about your grades. Of course, your grades are going to count significantly. But are you involved in research activities? Do you have a publication, especially if you want a PhD or even a master's? Are you part of an active research group that at least even has submitted a preprint? Can you provide the link of that preprint in your LinkedIn pages, in your CV, when you write your statement, personal statements? Are you able to mention that? Because that will be fished out as quickly as possible. Are you working towards having to demonstrate that you have skills? Can you demonstrate that you have skills? You have other programming skills. If you say so, do you have a link to the GitHub page so that they can click that link and say, okay, so you have this GitHub repository, you have deposited your codes. We can see that you know how to write code, you know how to create visualizations in R or Python, you know how to navigate the shell command to analyze data using the HPC, such kind of activities. And especially if you are targeting specific areas that are computational based, for example, in my case, focus on publicly available data sets on your own. I mean, like, there are tons and tons of data on NCBI. Get the data. I mean, like, play with that data. Whatever you get, put that in in a GitHub page. Copy the link. Put in your CV. Put in your in your LinkedIn page as well. Improve yourself. Collaborate with people. Make sure that you are updating yourself. It's not just about your degree. I can assure you that. And be on the lookout. One way to really get whatever you really want for sure, Google the topics you're interested in. Once you have the list, get the professors that work on that list, send them cold emails. Curate your cold emails and show that you have read their work. What are you going to bring on the table? Number two, there are specific websites that continuously provide opportunities. Are you able to get hold of these websites? I'll be able to provide a couple of websites down below. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you've been able to learn a few things, and I hope that you are going to put in your application. Believe you me, it is possible. Believe you me, there are so many opportunities out here waiting for you to try, and you may never know which one is actually meant for you. The only way to know is for you to try. So thank you so much for watching this, and see you in the next one.